do you kind of prepare for team week personally? I know.
You know, first off, thank you for being here. Good to see you guys. It's been a while. The thing that you do in terms of preparing is you look at the players first. You know, the NFL is about the players. Pay attention to those guys. Then you look at the scheme next to see what's changed. I know they've brought a lot of energy there, and particularly from my side of the ball, I'm dealing with on offense. You know, Roman does a great job. I mean, haven't been lucky against them the 2 times I faced them as a play caller, and they do a great job. You know, there's going to be an element of toughness. That's through their head coach. That's through their coaching staff. And you know, the players are really, you can see they're buying into the culture that they're trying to bring there. You can see it on tape, you know, the toughness, wanting to run the ball. And you hear it throughout the interviews and hear them talk about it. So I'm sure they're happy with it, and they're probably just as excited as us for the game on Sunday.
Now that you've had him here for a few months, I know you've coached him in the past, but specifically with the Raiders, Christian Wilkins, what sort of impact has he had for you guys on that defensive line?
You know, he's a great leader. I think he was a leader when he was a rookie, you know, in his own way, you know, and now he's had success in this league, and you can see his leadership skills, just how he's matured, and not just he was immature before, but how he's matured over time. And I know this, the players gravitate to him, coaching staff gravitates to him, and he's doing a good job for us, and you know, yeah, I'm sure he's excited.
Yesterday, Christian said that there's a good synergy building between the defensive unit. What have you seen out of the cohesion of your guys and how they're really picking up things this year?
Synergy and cohesion. You know, I like cohesion. Synergy, I've never been a fan of that word. I've never been a fan. But they spend a lot of time together, and they have honest conversations with one another. I know that we've done a better job as coaches of getting to know them. In terms of, I know I can speak for myself personally, spending more time with them, you know, whether it's in the calf, whether it's just sending more texts, whatever it is. And I think the reason why we have the cohesion, and the word you use, is because we spend a lot of time talking to each other and we're honest with one another.
Obviously, AP's has some familiarity with him, and also you coached him in New York during the homes. What went into the thought process of bringing him in, and what do you think about him as a player?
That would be specifically, you have to ask Tom and AP, but we're always welcome for good players, you know, and the fact that he has a familiarity with our defense, that helps. And I've known him since he was a rookie. He's a smart, diligent worker, works hard out there on the field, can tackle, can cover, can do a bunch of things, play special teams. So, you know, all of that stuff in terms of the checklist I just went through, I mean, that's a good defensive football player. You like to have those guys around.
You mentioned, Coach Harbaugh been talking a lot about running the ball. He's known for his teams kind of being run first. What do you think of that approach in today's game, where it's thought of as a pass league first, and what's kind of going to be the keys for the defense to have success in the run defense?
I think it's smart. You look like, you know, all the teams that win, it comes down to whether you're going to start at the beginning of the season, how you're trying to establish your identity during training camp, or when you get to the money games like the championship games, the Super Bowl. You got to be able to run the ball. You're not going to be able to advance in January without being able to run the ball. So I think it's a smart decision to make sure that's at the forefront of what they're talking about. Because if you can't stop the run on defense, I mean, it's going to be a long day. I mean, then the coordinator can call anything. That's the worst fear as a defensive play caller. But I think it's smart. And in order to be tough, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to stop the ball. So I know toughness is a big part of what they're trying to do. They're preaching, and that makes sense to me. And he's been successful doing it.
It seemed like Trayvon Merrick took a big step forward last year, and we've seen him make a lot of plays in training camp in the preseason this year. What do you think is going into that ascension for him as a young player?
Like most professional athletes, they make a decision. Man, again, he can learn about the curl flat on all 32 teams. You can learn about playing man-to-man coverage on all 32 teams. I mean, we're not doing rocket science here. I mean, like, you know, maybe a little tweak here and there, but it's the personal decision to say, okay, I'm a professional football player. Really don't have anything else to do. I don't have schoolwork to worry about. You know, all I gotta do is get better at my craft, and that's a decision those guys make on their own. And I'm just proud of how he's progressed throughout the years I've been around him, and looking forward to seeing him play Sunday.
Where do you think, like, he's, in your opinion, where do you think he's made the biggest strides in this game?
Communication. We just had a walkthrough just now, and you know, just for him to correct somebody without hesitation, wasn't waiting for a coach to do it, just went over there and did that. I love seeing stuff like that because for whatever reason it brings me back to like, you know, maybe something earlier in the process, like 2 years ago. So that's always cool for me. I tell them all the time, I said, you know, you guys make my day. You know, keep me young, you make my day. When little moments like that, it was probably nothing to him, but it was a big deal to me.
Patrick, how much of a luxury is it, I guess, to have 7 linebackers on a 53-man, issue 53-man roster?
I like having 7 good football players. It could be linebackers, D-line, whatever, you know. I don't know if it's a luxury. I just like having good football players. So, you know, again, the roster, how it's constructed, that's between Tom and AP. And the more good football players we have, the better off we'll be. And I love having, it gives you some variety, I guess.
How's that cohesion then between the linebackers having that?
It's good. I mean, you got Spill as your leader and Diablo in there. Those are pretty good leaders right there, good communicators. I'm sure they eat and hang out with one another and things of that nature. Out there on the field, they have to talk by nature. They got to talk because they're playing the linebacker position. They have to talk to one another. But I'm not gonna keep using it. I mean, well, you didn't say something, so but like we're going overboard with this cohesion thing.
One or two more guys.
Coach, he doesn't get talked about much, but he's coming off one of the best seasons of his career. What is next, in your opinion, for John Jenkins?
Improve every day, 1%. You know, just try to get better every day. You know, again, John's a professional. He's been doing it for a long time. I bet you that's all he's worried. He's worried about winning on Thursday today. You know, anytime, you know, we have personal goals. I'm sure I will never share my personal goals with you guys. I'm sure he's not going to share his personal goals with you, but really the main thing is just to get better every day. That's all I can ask those guys to do. So, you know, we got Thursday practice. We're focused on third down and early down, and we'll see. We'll go from there.
So 2 more, Ivan Vic.
I assume when you watch a lot of Greg Roman offenses, the past times you said you've gone against them, there's been a lot of mobile quarterbacks in there. Justin Herbert isn't necessarily known for that, but it's capable of it. I guess, how do you kind of factor in whether he might be used more in the run game and what they plan to do with him?
I mean, just refer back to the third down and 9 last year, he took off. So he looks pretty mobile to me. So again, y'all ask me this all the time. I factor in everything. I don't have anything else to do. Yeah, I mean, he can move. So I mean, we got to prepare for everything. I don't know what they're going to do. That's the beauty of week 1. You know, a little angst, you know, anxiety, you know, nervousness, whatever you want to call it. But that's the beauty of week 1. Everybody's going through it right now. You know, the game tonight, they're going through it. They don't know what they're going to do, but you know, we get to play football.
After Antonio took over last year, there was like a real marked increase in improved play on the defense. I'm wondering, this year, how do you plan to build on that? It seems like this year's narrative is that the defense is the strength of the team. Do you also believe in that as well?
I don't get caught up in narratives. The thing I try to do, and I've lived my life by this, is just try to get better every day. And because of last year, I mean, last year was last year, maybe it gives us a starting point in terms of communication, cohesion. Last time I'm using it, okay? But in terms of for 2024, we had to start from ground zero in terms of getting, you know, our fundamentals schematically, what we're going to do. You know, I think going into this year, it's all going to be based on how we perform and how we prepare and practice and how we perform on Sunday. That's the only way we're going to be judged. Nobody's going to care. As soon as Sunday happens, nobody cares about last year. Nobody cares.
What have you seen from Jack Jones in the training camp, preseason's first thing, that next step?
You know, I was always impressed by his athleticism. So, you know, that was God-given there. In terms of his football IQ, you can see it starting to grow more and more as he gets more plays under his belt. I think just that position right there, you're just going to be able to see more. You see the combinations. You get familiar because all the receivers are all the same receivers aside from the rookies. They're all the same receivers, so you get familiar with those guys. And then once you figure that out and you're able to communicate, because now you can say, hey, they are in this split. Hey, it is him stacked behind there. It's just reminders to your brain for your muscle memory to kick in to be able to play faster. So you're seeing that.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.